Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an interesting little idea I thought of on, my own time while I was thinking about what I would do for this coming week's episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar, here on the Ted's Booze Cellar channel, naturally. And I thought, considering that it's basically me putting my opinions out there, that why don't I create a tier list of what I think of the, top whatever number of beers that have been rated on YouGov.co.uk. So yeah, YouGov.co.uk is a great sort of website for rating things, and it's not an exact science, but it's a good way of generally gauging what the public discourse is on certain things that are widely sold in the UK. So I've decided to go on there and take the ratings of the top 30 beers and ciders that are sold in the UK and rate them as per my own perfect, opinion. So from 30th to 1st in the UK, we've got Sol, Marston's, Coors Light, Grolsch, Newcastle Brown Ale, Brewdog, Hobgoblin, John Smith's, London Pride, Carling, Foster's, Old Speckled Hen, Thatcher's Gold, Strongbow Dark Fruits, Beck's, Tetley's Brewery, Amstel, Carlsberg, Kronenbourg, Corona, Magners, Peroni, Budweiser, Heineken, Copperberg, Stella, Strongbow, Bulmers, San Miguel and Guinness. So we're going to go back and forth between this page and that one, and we're just going to double check which ones are rated which, and then we're going to place them on this tier list as I think they are deserving of a rating. But keep in mind, this is just according to my opinion. So if you guys have any opinions you may agree or disagree with that I present in this video, by all means leave them in the comment section below. But if you also want to participate in having your own, tuppence on this whole shindig, I'll leave the link to both the YouGov page here and also my own tier list that I've made here, and I'll let you guys do as you see fit, put these beers on there as you see fit. And I should also mention that this is only the popularity of beers amongst all of the UK according to this website in August 2020. So maybe I'll come back to this in a year and do it again, but this is how it is for the time being. So we'll start off with Amstel Lager, very nice Dutch brand. I think I used to like it a lot more than I did now, and it's still a great lager, but if you're getting it draft, the quality of it, more so than a lot of other beers here, really depends on how clean the line is in a pub. So usually I much prefer getting it in cases of bottles that I can have at home. So, or maybe as cans to take with me to a house party. So it's hard to rate it because I used to think it was damn near perfect, but I don't know, it really is. I'm really not sure, because if you go to a pub and go out on a night drinking and all you're getting is pints of draft Amstel, if you get a really, really clean pint, it can be damn near perfect. But if it's bad, it could also be anywhere near as bad as only if I'm already drunk. So, and I used to think generally it was damn near perfect, so I put it in decent overall because it's a decent beer, and if someone bought it pint for me, I'd be happy. And if I have bought it for myself in the past before, and I'll do so again. So Amstel goes in decent overall, and on their list here, only 14th. Way lower than I thought it would be. Anyway, Beck's. Now, Beck's is like a classic barbecue beer to me. I had it for the first time at a barbecue. It's been a long time since I've had it, but I do remember enough of it to think that it's a nice enough lager. It's clean, it's crisp, and the thing is, I don't remember if I've ever seen a draft tap for it in a pub before. I've had canned Beck's before, which is pretty meh, but bottled Beck's is actually alright. It's not bad, but I wouldn't, if you gave me the option, I'd probably go for Amstel over it. So I'll put Beck's an average, but it's a respectable average. I just wouldn't really go out of my way to get it, to be honest. Beck's is 16th. That's kind of about what I expected. But anyway, Brewdog. So unfortunately, this website doesn't really list any particular Brewdog drink. It just says the 25th most popular beer and the 44th most famous. So it's really hard to gauge this because they do actually do quite a lot of drinks. There's Dead Pony, there's Elvis Juice, there's a couple of other ones they do, and so it really depends on what one I'm having. Like, if I'm having Elvis Juice, we're talking decent overall. I think that's where I'm going to place it, because generally as a brand, they are pretty consistent. I personally prefer Holler, and I think there are some IPA-centric sort of beer breweries that are slightly better overall. Now, Budweiser. Much like Beck's, I feel like this is another classic barbecue beer. It's not really all that awful, but I really don't want to go out of my way to get it just because it's so just... It's just I don't know, it really, really, really isn't that impressive to me, and it's such a popular beer. Like Brewdog, for example, 25th, right? Even though it's a brand that does some beers that are pretty good overall and pretty varied, Budweiser is all the way up in 8th, and it's one of the most just generic lagers I've ever had. I mean, granted, I've definitely had way worse, but I think I'm going to put it in only if I'm already drunk, because it's not completely awful, but it's like about average, maybe slightly below-ish average. It's really not anything special, but I've definitely had worse, and if I was already drunk, I'd happily just chug like an entire keg of it, so I can't really say too much, against it. Bulmers is a weird one, because I feel like when I first started getting into drinking beers, much like a lot of young guys in the UK, my first drink of choice was usually like a sweet cider. Bulmers are kind of like in a good spot between sharp and sweet, but at the same time, now that I've grown up and my taste buds have gotten accustomed to slightly harsher flavours, I feel like Bulmers has slightly gone down in rating. So when I was younger and less wiser, I probably would have gone for average or even decent overall. But time is a great teacher, and I don't know, as popular as Bulmers is, and as much as I used to love it, I probably would put it... it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say, because I'm really teetering between average and only if I'm already drunk, so I'll put it in average. Like, it's a 5 out of 10, but it's nothing special. It's nothing terrible either. Just checking. Bulmers is 3rd. Wow! I would not put it 3rd in even my favourite ciders, so wow, that's quite surprising. 3rd most popular in the UK and 8th most famous. Wow! Next up, Carling. Now, I've reviewed the draft version of Carling on Ted's Booze Cellar before. General, comprehensive, decent lager. It's nothing special. It literally is what it says on the tin. It's just a humble, simple lager, clear, crisp, comes from Burton. I mean, I'm going to put in average. Like, usually, like, if I'm out on a night on the town, I'd only have it if I'm already drunk. But if someone buys a pint of it for me, I'll probably happily drink it if I'm in the mood. I used to think it was only if I'm already drunk, but I remember when I did the draft version of it for Ted's Booze Cellar, I actually gave it a 5.5 out of 10. So I'll put in average. I think that's respectable. Carlsberg, I think Carlsberg is the funny one because it's really temperamental. Like, more than a lot of beers, Carlsberg is really horrible when it's like warm or room temperature, or when you're just not in the mood for it. But if you are in the mood for it and it's properly chilled and it's served in a clean glass from a clean line, it is nice. However, the canned version of it is pretty ropey. I don't know. I'll put it in average because, again, much like Carling, it's just a beer, and it's like, it is what it says on the tin. And there are definitely beers that I've had that are way worse. Carlsberg. Where was the ranking for Carlsberg again? 13th. That's about what I expected, actually. So, Coors Light. I hate Coors Light. I had it for the first time at a house party during my first year of university in the 14-15 academic year. I've hated it ever since. I've tried it a couple of times since, with about 2 years difference in between. And I've pretty much hated it every time. It's just really not that nice, and I don't get why people like it so much. Like, I've had mates who said like they've gone through periods of drinking it, and I'm just like, why? Like, it's like, I mean, I would think about like putting it in either would rather drink water, but honestly, it's just such like a really like beer that I'm going to put in fermented sewage water, because it just has no taste, and it's honestly really not that nice. Coors Light, where is Coors Light again? 28th. Hang on a minute. Coors Light is 28th? Like, Hogarden is in 62nd! Hoegaarden is in 62nd, and bloody Coors Light is in 28th. That is a disgrace. I mean, it's even higher than Estrella Damm, and also Red Stripe, all of which are good. And Leffe! That is disgraceful. God damn it, Britain, what is wrong with you? Corona. Corona's decent, actually. I think that their brand has been kind of killed by the whole pandemic. Obviously, the name of the virus shares a lot with the name of this beer, and I can imagine a lot of pub goers have asked bartenders, hey, can I have a bottle of the virus? Or some daftness like that. So I feel a bit bad for them, because usually I wouldn't feel bad for like a big corporation, but at the same time you've got to feel a little bit bad in the sense that their bottom line's been hit so hard by what is essentially just superstition and just bad jokes. So I kind of feel a bit bad for them, so that gives them some pity points, I guess you could say. But at the same time, like, they are genuinely a good lager, and so I would say decent overall. They are actually a really nice lager, especially with a slice of lime. Actually, it goes up to damn near perfect. But yeah, decent overall. Really, really like Corona. Corona Extra also is really good as well. So yeah, where was that again? Corona 11th. I'll take it. I wish it was in 10th, but 11th is not bad, I guess. Okay, so Foster's. I did a review on draft Foster's once when I was a bit drunk, and that's why I implemented the policy on Ted's Booze Cellar of not reviewing drinks when I'm drunk, and, you know, having like a glass of water beforehand cleans my palate. So now that I've gone back and drunk Foster's, I've genuinely had the cans and the draft version a couple of times since that episode. I think, what episode was it? It was something like 40 or the 45th episode, something like that. It was quite a while ago. Yeah, since then my tastes have changed a bit, and I definitely wouldn't rate it as highly as I used to. I would used to say it was average, but now, one time I was round at my mum's place and someone had left behind a can of Foster's, and my mum had left those 2 cans, and she said to me, oh, I'm not going to drink these, but do you want them? And I took a sip of one, and I genuinely couldn't finish any more than a couple of sips. It was horrible. So I'm going to have to put it in fermented sewage water. If it's the draft version, then it might go up to would rather drink water. But if it's the bottled version or the canned version, I'm going to put it in fermented sewage water. However, I've had the lemon-flavoured Radley version of Foster's, which is actually pretty decent and could possibly be high as average. But yeah, if we're just talking about general Foster's, this fermented sewage water is as good as it's going to get. Grolsch, I haven't had that in a few years. May have it again at some point to review it. Really, really not that impressed when I first had it. It's just it's an archetypal student house party beer, I feel, because it's got that sort of classic, you have it like for a dog's beard or at a house party, just a few tinnies from the off license, get it for like £1.50 per pint can. I just didn't get the hype around it. Like, I've never really liked Grolsch at all, but it's definitely better than Coors Light and Foster's, and I would have it if I was already drunk, so I'll put it there. It's not the worst beer I've ever had, but it's not great either. Just forgot actually to check Foster's and Grolsch's rankings, so oh wow, where are they? Foster's is 20th. I thought Foster's would be higher because I do see a lot of people drinking it. Carling's 21st. That's quite surprising. I thought both of those would be way more popular. Grolsch 27th. I'm not really surprised by that. So yeah, Guinness. Guinness I do really like. I don't drink a lot of stouts, and I've had quite a few craft porters. Admittedly, I've had ones that have been made with like peanut butter or dark chocolate or millionaire shortbread, you know, sort of flavours brewed into them. But Guinness is just good because it's just a simple, honest stout, and I feel like more than a lot of beers out there, even if it's not a particularly great line or, you know, a particularly cleanish glass at a pub, you can still enjoy a good Guinness. Now, that being said, if it's like really thin, or you get into the dregs of the barrel, or it is a really dirty pint or a really dirty line, it can be quite nasty. But draft Guinness, if it's even just done mediocre, it can be quite decent. And canned Guinness as well is actually surprisingly good, because I usually think that canned versions of beers are the worst version of it. But bottled canned and draft Guinness are all solid all round, and I would put it in damn near perfect, to be honest, because I don't drink a lot of stouts or porters, but I've got to be honest, Guinness is probably the best stout I've ever had so far, so I really, 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 really like it. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. First, get in. Nice, I appreciate that. So, Heineken. Heineken is an interesting one because I used to really hate it. I'm not really sure why, because it's not gonna blow your mind, it's just kind of a standard Dutch lager, and I feel like it's probably about the same level of quality as Amstel, so I'm gonna put it on decent overall. And it's probably, for me, the quintessential house party lager, and the reason for that is that it stays chilled for quite a long time, and it's usually very, very cool when you have it in a draft glass out of a pub, because the taps for Heineken in pubs have these automatic timers that freeze the outside, so it keeps the inside of the tap super, super chilled and cool. So Heineken is usually a very nice, cool, refreshing pint. Probably not like an elite level beer, I'd say, but overall it's pretty damn nice and it's very refreshing. So I'll happily put it in decent overall. Hobgoblin is a weird one because I don't know, it could be great, and I really don't know. I think, you know what, I'll put it in decent overall, because when I've gone online for like an online grocery shop, I've looked sometimes at the deals they have for cases of beer, and sometimes they haven't had great ones, and if that's the case, then I usually go for something like Guinness or Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin's not as good as Guinness, not by a long shot, but it's a little bit above average. It's probably not something I'd choose as often as Heineken or Amstel, but for a beer, just a general sort of like amber ale, it's pretty good. It's not going to blow your mind again, much in the same way that Heineken doesn't, but it's alright. Heineken was 7th. Hobgoblin, I don't think Hobgoblin is overtly popular. 24th, that's higher than I thought. It's above Brewdog. Next up is John Smith's. John Smith's was above Hobgoblin. I've definitely had worse ales, but the thing is, John Smith's, from when I was growing up, had kind of like the reputation as like sort of a drinker's beer. Like, it wasn't really one you drink to have like a great time. So I don't really know what its reputation is like now. And I've drunk it a couple of times, and honestly, I've had worse. I still wouldn't rate it all that highly though. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm really, really not sure. I think I'd probably put it in only if I'm already drunk, because I really would never drink it or buy it for myself. So that was 23rd. A bit higher than I thought it would be, to be honest. Kopparberg. Now, I did used to really like Kopparberg when I used to drink cider on the reg, and again, I've had way worse ciders, to be honest. I've had ciders that have been too sugary, I've had ciders that have tasted like paint thinner, so I'll put it in would rather drink water. Again, I'd rather not drink it even if I was drunk, but definitely had worse. But then again, if I'm down to my last, fiver on a night out, and it's a choice between either a bottle of Kopparberg for my last drink or a pint of Cherry Coke, I'd go for the Cherry Coke any day. 6th! Oh, yeah, really? It's only 6% lower rated on it here than Guinness. Kronenbourg is definitely much nicer. It's a classic sort of French lager. And again, I've probably had nicer, but I'd put it in decent overall because I actually enjoy all three variants of it. I enjoy the canned version of it, but I do really, really like the bottled version, which I think is probably the best version of Kronenbourg. When you get those cases of, I think, 284 milliliter Kronenbourg, and you chill those in the fridge, they are just gorgeous, and they're really, really nice to have with a good meal. And the draft version of Kronenbourg, if it's a clean enough line that it's being poured out of, it can be really, really lovely. So the bottled version would be damn near perfect, but generally I'd say the canned and the pint version decent overall, so that's where I put them, I'll be honest. London Pride, I'm going to put that in decent overall. I drink quite a lot more sort of like red and dark ales, and I really like London Pride, just generally speaking. It's quite a comprehensive, decent ale that just gets the job done. It's not really one I'd go out of my way to get drunk on, and it's like only one I'd have like a few at a time. and just relax with over a nice meal, or maybe have it as a pre-drink. But no, it's good overall, and maybe I'm rating it up there highly alongside Kallenborg, and maybe I'm speaking from a bit of a bias, but I do generally quite like it, so I'll put it in decent overall. And it was rated on the list in 22nd, below Carling, Foster's, and bloody Copperberg. That's just really gutting. I do not appreciate that. Magners, I think it's a bit too sweet. I mean, it's not the worst cider in the world. I've definitely had worse. It's not as good as Bulmers, but it's a million miles ahead of Copperberg, so I'll put that in only if I'm already drunk. And I can't remember what rating did that get. Magners was lower than Bulmers. Oh god, was it 10th? Better than, I think it's better than Bulmers and Strongbow, so that's a bit shocking. Not really one I would go out of my way to get, but again, I feel about it the same way that I do about Grolsch. Now this one, I don't really know about this one. Marston's, I don't think I've ever had. I'm not really sure where I should put it, so I made a list for itself. So I put it in never tried it, so no comment. 29th. So yeah, I mean, it's not even in the top 20, so it's not the most overtly popular. It's only 31% rated it. 29th most popular beer. Now, Newcastle Brown Ale. I used to love this stuff, and I'm not really sure why. It's just kind of, it kind of makes me, it's not the most gaseous dark beer actually, but whenever I drink it, it makes me really super gassy, and I just end up feeling a bit bloated, so I think I'll put that in would rather drink water. Like, when I first started getting into dark ales and stouts, that was my usual go-to drink, but then I discovered Guinness made me feel a lot less bloated. It was making me feel a lot less gassy. Usually it was a little less pricey, so I decided to go for Guinness usually more than Newcastle Brown Ale. It's 26th. Yeah, that's kind of to be expected, really. So, Old Speckled Hen, again, only if I'm already drunk. Not really the most impressive beer. Like, if you asked me like about 3 or 4 years ago when I was really into going to hospitalities, and I mean, I still am, but it's just back then I was going to them a bit more regularly, probably would have put Old Speckled Hen in average or possibly even decent overall. As it is, it's teetering on only if I'm already drunk or average, and I think it's leaning slightly more on the side of only if I'm already drunk, because I mean, there's just quite a few more ales I'd much rather have beforehand. Where was it rated again? It was rated above Marston's and Sol. Good, I'm glad it was above Coors Light. 19th, that's higher than I thought. Now, Peroni. Oh, I love Peroni. I really, really love Peroni. I've said before as well to people I know that in my personal top 5 beers across the world, including, you know, ciders, stouts, porters, ales, IPAs, all that sort of thing, in my top 5 would include Peroni. So I'm going to put it in 10 out of 10. I love Peroni so much. It's so crisp, it's so clean, it's really refreshing. I might have reviewed a version of it in the past, but I might go back and re-review it, because since then I feel like my tastes have changed. I've gotten a lot more into like continental, crisp, slightly herby lagers. To me, Peroni tastes like kind of a more like a more Western European version of Mythos in a certain manner of speaking, although I still prefer Mythos way more, but Peroni is damn excellent. Peroni, where was Peroni rated? Peroni 9th, but behind Budweiser, behind Copperberg, behind Bulmers and Strongbow. Are you joking? It's only 9th. Anyway, San Miguel. San Miguel's a funny one. I feel like when I first started getting into crisp, clear European continental lagers, probably about 6 years ago, I would have probably put it in 10 out of 10. As it is, it's still an excellent beer. Probably just about in my top 15 or top 10 beers overall. Put it in damn near perfect. It's good. I don't think I like it as much as I used to, but it's still an excellent lager. And maybe a little bit biased towards it because I like strong flavours. I like malty flavours. San Miguel has that in spade, and it's generally really nice. I would recommend the Fresco version of San Miguel because that is excellent. That is a really nice, refreshing summer beer. And San Miguel was rated 2nd. No, I'm happy with that. I'm really fine with that. 2nd is a good, respectable position for that. Sol is a weird one because I feel like I have it probably more often these days than San Miguel, but I think I probably prefer San Miguel a bit more. I do like crisp light lagers, but I'll put it in damn it, decent overall. I think is really teetering on damn near perfect. Like, it is kind of like nearly an elite level beer. I think out of the ones currently that I've placed in decent overall, I think it's joint favourite in there for me with bottled Kronenbourg or draft Heineken. It's really, really hard to say, but it is a good beer. It is really, really nice, and I will happily go out of my way to buy it because it is a lovely, lovely lager. Stella. Now, a lot of my friends know me that I really like Stella. I'd even like buying cases of the can version to have at home. I got a case of bottled versions of it in my last groceries delivery. I generally just really like it. It's usually my go-to beer on a night out. I don't think it's quite perfect, but I think it's damn near perfect myself. I know that it used to have a reputation when I was growing up as kind of like a wife-beater beer and a beer that's sort of like really hard alcoholics would drink. I personally feel like, you know, you could get really sloshed on it if you don't watch yourself or if you don't drink responsibly when you're drinking it. And so I understand, but I generally really like Stella. Overall, I think it's a really nice, clean, crisp Belgian lager, and it's easily comparable with a lot of other continental beers. So I would usually pick Stella if I'm going out on a night out. And even if I'm just having a beer at home, one or two just with a meal, I'd probably pick Stella as well. Strongbow, yeah, I'm just going to be a bit... And where was Stella rated, actually? Stella was rated 5th. Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, I'll probably rate it slightly. I'd personally say it's like 4th or 3rd. 5th is alright. Now, I do not like Strongbow. If you're talking about the Strongbow Cloudy Apple version, then I'd probably put that in decent overall, because that's actually a really nice cider, and it's quite light, it's sweet, but it's not overly sort of over-cloyingly sweet. But I don't like Strongbow, really, the base version at all, and I like the Dark Fruits version even less. Yeah, I'm going to put both of those in fermented sewage water, I'm going to be brutally honest. I think I reviewed Strongbow Dark Fruits 4 out of 10 on Ted's Booze Cellar. If I went back, I'd probably review it like a 2.5. Strongbow standard version is pretty rank, and I think I once gave that like a 6 out of 10. I think if I reviewed it again, I'd give it like a 3. But Strongbow is 4th on this YouGov list, and Dark Fruits is 17th. Dark Fruit is somehow nicer to the lot of the British public than London Pride, Brewdog. God, that is just galling. And Strongbow is nicer than Stella. It's nicer than the Heineken. It's nicer than Baroni. Are you mental? It is not nicer than literally any of these beers in the top 30 here. That is mental. Tetley's. Tetley's is a weird one. I don't really know. First and only times I've ever really tried Tetley's, I had it in like shandy mixed with lemonade, and that having it like that was actually really nice. Like, it's a good, probably like relaxation and sort of meal drink, but it's been so long since I've had it, I can't really remember what it was like, and even then I think it was mixed mostly with just lemonade, so put it in average, I guess. Where was Tetley's rated? 15th. Yeah, I probably personally wouldn't put it above London Pride or Brewdog. On to the final drink of today, the drink that was rated in 18th, Thatcher's Gold. It's a Somerset-y sort of style golden cider. I'd probably put it in only if I'm already drunk, because I've already said before, I've had way worse ciders, as you can clearly see here. But overall, it's not the worst, but it's just like, the only reason why I'd really drink it is if it was on deal at a supermarket, and even then, I'd probably just go for a lager or a much nicer cider like Aspall's. Out of the drinks on the only if I'm already drunk tier, like the 3 I'd be more likely to get would be Thatcher's, Grolsch and Old Speckled Hen. So, that was my video on my tier list, or my opinions on the top 30 rated beers in the UK as rated by yougov.co.uk. I'll leave the links to this page and also my tier list here. And so if you guys want to, you know, have a look at them yourselves, I will leave the links to them in the video description down below. As well as those, I'll leave the links to my other social medias and YouTube channels in the video description down below. And on top of that, if you guys just generally like this video, leave a like, share and subscribe. And comment down below as well if you have anything that you particularly agreed or disagreed with, or if you want me to do any other kinds of videos like this in the future. Maybe I might do one for top 30 popular beers in America or something like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. And if you have any ideas for further videos you want me to do, again, let me know in the comment section below. But as always, I have been Ted here on Ted's Booze Cellar. Have fun, stay safe with whatever you're doing, don't do anything I wouldn't do, drink responsibly, know your limits, take a mask with you when you go to the shops, and I'll see you guys next time at the bar on Ted's Booze Cellar. Bye bye for now.